For my creepy clown painting project, I will be using Silc Pig silicone pigments from Smooth On Corporation for my paints. I will be using GE silicone caulking compound for my silicone base to make the paint stick, and I will use naptha thinner as a thinner for the entire paint mixture. Okay, there's some GE. I'll point out that it should be GE and it should be silicone 1, clear 100% silicone 1. And here's my little Silc Pig little sampler set I got from Smooth On that I'm going to play with today just to be silly. You don't have to use them. You can use oil paints and other paints, but I like these, so I'm going to use them. And here's some safety wear, some eyeglasses and some gloves. Always use them with naphtha. Always protect your eyes. And just some stir sticks, some little cups, and some cheap paint brushes. How simple, cheap, and easy is that? I will begin by mixing my first color, which will be white. I start by pouring some silicone into a cup. Silicone is used so that the paint will actually stick to the silicone project. And then you take a little bit of the pigment, just a little bit, wee little bit, too much, less than that. It needs so little bit. And I mix that in with the silicone, and then I use the naphtha in order to thin out the mixture to my desire. Here's my cheap soft brush. Cheaper, the softer the better. And I'm going to start with the white paint. Now the white paint is going to be for my crazy clown's white makeup that he put on himself, and he did a really bad job, and I want it to look crazy and splotchy and horrible, and I want it to look like he sweat some of it off. So I'm not going for perfection here at all. I want it to look bad, but bad in a good way. So I'm trying to keep it out of his creases because I want it to look like he sweated off, so it's not in his creases. And I want a lot of the transparency to I want it to be transparent. I want it translucent. That's what I mean to say, because I want the skin to show through. And so I'm gonna used a lot of naphtha to thin the white paint down quite a bit, and so you can hardly see it now, but there it goes. There's the first coat. Little light, it'll get a little bit darker, but I want a lot of the translucency. And now I'll start with the red paint. The red is for the blood, in case you can't tell what's going on. Our crazy clown guy cut himself. He cut into his flesh to decorate himself like a clown. Instead of using makeup, really, he's going to use blood and his skin cuts to decorate himself. So he'll be permanently clownish and happy, I guess, if you're happy with doing that sort of thing. So I just start with some basic red. Putting it in all the little grooves. Getting groovy. I won't show everything. I just show a little bit of the paint, because if I showed every single step of this would be 2 hours long or more. Gotta wait for things to dry too, so it takes forever to do these things. So I just show little basics here and there. And that's him. He tore off his skin in that place. And so it's just, you see just a little bit of muscles and blood. Bloody muscle. Fascia, I think it's called there. Fascia muscle. And I always start light because I like to keep things translucent. You can always go darker if needed, but you can't lighten it up once you go too dark. Oh, I'll explain his mouth while I'm thinking about it. He cut his mouth so he could have a really wide smile, and he took out his teeth, and instead of his teeth, he's got some kind of metal plate that he filed to look like some creepy teeth, just some big grooves that he thinks is beautiful. He doesn't think it's scary at all. He thinks he looks nice, fun for the kids. Kind of a Twisty the Clown thing from American Horror Story. I don't know if that was in my head when I made this, because I think I sculpted this years before that American Horror Story even came out. So maybe I wasn't copying, because I think I did this before I saw Twisty the Clown. And there's some more where he removed his skin down on his little cheeks. And for his nose, he sewed on a nose. He sewed on his red nose so he can have a red nose forever. And they're getting some of that gore in his mouth that's been cut open, and where he stuck his metal plate in there. And I have rivets. There are rivets along his mouth that he used to secure his metal plate to his mouth. So that's what's going on with him. So from this point, I don't think there's much to say. So I think I'll just shut up and add some creepy music. How's that?